Back live tonight here on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. Coalition politics have been dominating, of course, a large part of the show with the conversation with the speaker earlier on. But it's coalition politics that have led to the breakdown of governance, so to speak, in the Johannesburg Metro, in Ekurhuleni, in Tshwane, and so on and so forth. And Good Governance Africa has called on President Cyril Ramaphosa and his cabinet to form an independent panel, while a number of parties have called for rules governing coalitions. Well, tonight we want to look at the rules governing coalitions as suggested by the ANC and whether or not those will be a stumbling block for the appointment of a mayor tomorrow. Political analyst Sandile Swana joins us now. Good to have you. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Good evening, Tatumzoli, and to your viewers.
So we have reason to believe that the reason why a mayor was not appointed on Tuesday was because some of the councillors within the ANC coming out of that NEC three-day meeting said, well, the framework of the party says a minority cannot hold the position of mayor, and therefore we want Dada Murero to actually be the name that is put forward, and we will not support the name of the minority candidate. Now, of course, this creates a spanner in the works for the ANC in the region, because it seems Panyaza Lusufi has negotiated with the EFF to say this is how we are going to operate. Talk to me first about the ANC's decision to come up with these rules, and why would they come up with such rules which are clearly in conflict with what the party has been doing in practice in this particular province, but also how this is going to play out in terms of making a decision tomorrow?
First of all, I don't believe that what Dada Murero and company are promoting is the only thing that was said about this particular matter. My understanding is that the author of this framework, which is David Makura, has said there are 80 municipalities where a collective executive, rather than an executive mayor system, must be introduced, whereby you basically, when you introduce a collective executive, the 10 seats, let's, for the sake of argument, use the 10 seats of the mayoral committee, would then be simply allocated according to the number of votes you've got, or the percentage of votes that you've got. And then, obviously, the smaller parties would then be squeezed out at the bottom there, because the number of seats is limited to a maximum of 10 or 20% of council. That is stipulated in Section 7 of the Municipal Structures Act. There are 3 different ways you can configure a municipality in terms of its executive and executive powers. 3. One is the collective one, which Makura says should ideally be implemented on short notice in 80 municipalities where the ANC has got influence. And the other one, which is the one that is under debate, we'll come back to that one, which is the executive mayoral system. And the third one is the plenary. Now, these 3 systems were proposed in the original stages of our constitution and our drafting of the laws, not because the ANC had lost votes. These things have been there for a long time. But at the moment, they are not being considered, other than the fact that Makura has said that can be done. If that were to be done Makura's way, a lot of this debate would fall by the wayside. Let's then come to the proposal by Dada Murero and company, which is causing the problem right now. Dada Murero and company come from a position where in the city of Johannesburg, they have lost the confidence of the residents and the voters of this city, which is why they don't have 50+1. Now, what the ANC, and this is what Dada Murero and them are latching onto, what the ANC is trying to do, maybe supported even by the DA in this, is to smuggle themselves into something that they cannot get from the elections, but to make us to continue with the system that they've been running, which has been failing. Now, let's say the ANC has got their 30% in the city of Joburg, and the next party has got 25%, and then others have got less than that. Then the ANC becomes the biggest party with 30%. And then that gives them the right to form the government. with 30%. So clearly that cannot be a democratic outcome. But for the ANC and the likes of Dada Murero, it is a way of overriding the electoral outcome and smuggling themselves back into power, although we as residents have rejected them. So that is where the battle is, and I want to believe Panyaza is on the other side of this argument in saying that, guys, let's stick with the coalition, let's give other people a chance to play a role in the executive, let it be a government of local unity. And this is the hot potato that is there on the side of the ANC.
So whatever outcomes then tomorrow will tell us where did the cookie crumble or where did the cookie fall. So if tomorrow we emerge with a mayor coming from the minority, that would mean either one, the David Makura suggestion has been put on ice, especially here in the city of Johannesburg, and therefore Panyaza Lesufi has emerged as a victor, so to speak. And if the opposite happens, it would mean the Dada Murero faction has gotten the upper hand.
Yeah, so the Dada Murero, what Dada Murero, by the way, is suggesting is also written is one of the suggestions that have been put forward by David Makura. It's one of the alternatives. But what is always worrying when people are given alternatives is that they choose an alternative opportunistically. Because before the NEC meeting, in a way, we knew what they were going to do. We knew what the ANC wanted to do in Gauteng. After the NEC meeting, this new idea now comes in and it's so strongly fought for. And it may jeopardize a lot of things. And then it opens a big door for opportunists like the PA and so on and so forth. We're not yet discussing that. But if, for instance, a mayor from the minority party emerges tomorrow, it means the people of Gauteng, the ANC of Gauteng, has finally reverted back to their old position. At least that position is more inclusive of a certain type of political parties. It excludes the likes of the DA, Freedom Front Plus, and so on. But it includes those parties that the ANC, the parties of the ANC, if we can call them that.
So let's stay with that last option. If that last option then happens, what's the likelihood of the EFF? Because I think they need them, and probably they also need the Patriotic Alliance to support that view or that position if they want to take that position.
Let us say, remember that this is not a new position, because isn't it, Ahmad was there. All they needed to do is that, okay, we were doing this, it's just that it was the wrong person. Basically, that is what Panyaza would have argued. Our idea was correct, it's just that we chose the wrong mayor. So let's correct that one thing. We're not correcting every other thing, we're correcting this one thing that we got wrong. So if they revert to that, then it's clear what must be done. But in doing that, the PA wants more seats from either party. Whether they go to the DA side or they are back in the ANC side, all that the PA is about, they're not subscribing to any ideology, they are subscribing to nothing. Anybody who's giving them seats, they take the seats. That is their publicized position. And when you look at what the latest in the newspapers now, they are even putting Kenny Kunene's name and so on. But more, I know they are more bargaining with everybody that give us two positions and we have our votes. So that issue is going to put us in a very vulnerable position as residents, because if you have any party that wins a minority position, in other words, they don't have an outright majority, it's just a bigger minority, then we're back to square one, which got Palatse out of office.
Dr. Swana, appreciate your time. Let's leave it there. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Analyst Sandile Swana there, of course, predicting what could possibly be coming out tomorrow in that special council sitting to elect the mayor of the city of Johannesburg.